Adrian Jones.
Could I answer that? Alongside with Jackie as well. Can I just firstly, before I start, just reinforce what John said earlier on, in that everybody at FirstGroup was deeply shocked and saddened by the tragic incident. And we want to reiterate our condolences to all the victims, their families and friends, and anyone injured or affected by the incident. We're committed to work with TfL and work tirelessly to adopt the recommendations from the RAIB investigation. I think we certainly in the areas specifically for TOL, we have made extremely good progress. I don't disagree with Finn that a just culture is extremely important. We know that. I mean, across FirstGroup, safety is a personal core value for us all, and we do adopt a real culture of safety. If I could invite Jackie to speak a bit more specifically about what has been done to promote the particularly reporting of incidents and people feeling able to report incidents, I think that may be helpful.
I think as you're, I mean, Finn and I work very closely with each other as we do with Unite. Where we are, I think anybody that has done any investigation into just culture, it takes about 3 years to actually embed that into any company. And so we are at the start of all that. What we have agreed with the trade unions is an error and violation policy, because Finn's right is that we had 4 surveys done on our drivers, one by the British Transport Police, the ORR, the RAIB, and also our own staff satisfaction survey, where our drivers were very critical of the environment of which they worked. And and you have to accept all of those things from the survey. So what we have done is that we've done an error and violation policy. So anybody that is involved in any error, and that's any operational incident, anything to do with that, is that it's done on a development process. So we develop people, we give them competency training, and that's how it's dealt with. There is no discipline at all in toll on anybody that makes an error. Unfortunately, if they are involved in a violation where they have purposely done something, then that is a violation of which they will be disciplined. And so that's much easier for the drivers, because they now understand what the difference is, most of them. And it also helps my managers, who understand the difference, because that was the problem. The perception was that if a manager liked you, you got off, and if he didn't like you, you didn't. Now, whether that was true or not true, perception becomes reality. So we've invested that. We did have a bit about fatigue, if people fatigue, but we have had a few drivers that have rung in and said, I've had a really bad night, and we have accepted that they are not coming in, and they are still paid. It's not as though we don't pay them, but very few do that. You know, my managers actually said, well, if you allow them to ring in and say that they're tired, they'll all ring in, all right? Well, I have to tell you that people don't do that. So we have all that. We are on a journey, but I think we've started well. Our communication is much better with the staff now. We have a monthly communication with them, which is called The Loop, which tells them all about the safety and what we've, the targets against what incidents we've had for that period. It tells them about our performance. It tells them about any incidents and what's happening within Tram. And also we have a magazine which comes out every 3 months. We have safety alerts, all of those things, operations, which we share with all of our staff, not just with the drivers, but with everybody else that works at Tram. And that's becoming more effective. We have CIRAS, where they can report any incident, and also the FirstGroup safety report, which is all anonymous. And any driver that has any incidents, especially we're talking about fatigue, is that we have introduced a machine onto this tram that alerts any driver for microsleeps, drowsiness, distraction, and overspeed of over 70 kilometres an hour. And from that information, we're able to draw some really important information about time of day, driver, duties, location of where these fatigue incidents actually happen. Which is why when we're introducing these new rosters, is that I believe it's the first time in this country that rosters have been based on the information from our own drivers about fatigue, and we've incorporated all of those things, the ORR best practice, the location of where these time of day. One of the things about the rosters is that they need a break within 3 hours of booking on, because if you book, as Finn says, if you come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, you probably haven't had breakfast. You probably haven't had a drink. So what do you think is going to happen? So we're incorporating all of those things. I'm quite excited about the work that we're doing at Toll because it's innovative. We are sharing that across industries, bus, trucks, national rail, of the information we're doing. But you need the data to be able to work with this. And so we've been doing this for about a year to actually get the correct data to be able to manage these things. So we're beginning to get more and more data that enables us to know, and if any driver has any issue, we work with them on a plan individually. We work with our occupational health. We've actually identified a couple of drivers that have medical conditions. We've had 2 with sleep apnea, which they didn't know they had. Another driver who has an underactive thyroid, but she hadn't been for a blood test. And so basically this identified that she had a problem. She's now gone back and upped her dose of her thyroxine. So it is not a punitive thing. We never discipline anybody for any of this. This is about helping them to live their lives. And one of the things that we are planning to do in the next few weeks is to actually have an open day with all of the families of our tram people to actually show them about what the work we're doing with fatigue, and also to explain to them about their circadian rhythm, because people are either owls or they're early birds, and in your body just has to go with all of that. It's an area with fatigue that the transport industry has not done vigilantly before. It's very new. There's not a lot out there, and we're really sort of making inroads into what it means. And of course the other issue is that people, they can't differentiate between tiredness and fatigue. Fatigue is a chronic issue. Like, it is not being tired. And if you're on shift work, you are prone to chronic fatigue. And those are the issues that we're looking at. So I'm very happy for the Assembly to come to Toll to actually see what we're doing and the work that we're doing if you wish to.